We are moving on to the next.
First of all, we finish with that. We do call the mover to move.
Honorable Kajwang, you've been a chair before. You know, at this point, your point of order is totally overtaken by events, Honorable. And I'm calling on the mover to move reporting. Honorable Kajwang, we have to move and conclude the business before us. Honorable mover.
The Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee.
Clause 3.
I propose the question. I propose that clause 3 be amended as proposed by Honorable Kanini Kega.
No, start with clause 3.
I don't have clause 2 here with me.
Start with clause 3. Clause 2.
Honorable Kanini Kega, we start with clause 3.
Clause 2 is interpretation.
We will come to it.
Let me give him.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Clause 2, of course, is also in the order paper, but maybe you come back to it. But clause 3, I beg to move that clause 3 of the bill be amended in paragraph B by inserting the words "in Kenya" immediately after the word "assessment bodies." And the justification is to provide recognition of the service as the sole national body responsible for accreditation and to make provision for mutual recognition and upholding of cross-frontier accreditation cooperation principles. Thank you, Madam Chair. As you have noted, the bill is a bit technical, and I'm happy that we still have quite a number of members who also maybe would want to make some few contributions on the same.
That clause 3.
Honorable members, are you done, Honorable Kega?
Yes, I'm done.
Then you can take your seat.
Thank you.
I propose the question. Sorry members. I propose that clause 3 be amended as proposed by Honorable Kanini. Honorable Oundo?
Yeah. Chair, thank you. Chair, the import of the amendment is basically to reinforce the position that in a jurisdiction, there can only be one assessment body. There can only be one accreditation assessment body, and there should be no other. That's the international practice, and that's why we're introducing specifically the term "in Kenya." I urge members to approve so that we give it the teeth it requires to make it relevant and discharge its mandate. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Sheikh Mohammed? I don't see any more interest. Honorable members, I go on to honorable members, I propose the question. I propose clause 3 as amended be part of the bill, and I go on to put the question, which is that clause 3 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 4, there's no amendment. So
There is no amendment to this one. So I propose the question, which is that clause 4 be part of the bill. And I go on to put the question, which is that clause 4 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 5,
I propose a question, which is that clause 5 be part of the bill. Honorable Kanini?
Thank you, Chair. I propose that clause 5 be amended by deleting the word Nairobi and substituting, therefore, the word Kenya as at a place designated by the Cabinet Secretary and published in the Gazette notice. And the justification is that is to provide flexibility on the location of the headquarters. Today it could be Nairobi, tomorrow it can be Machakos, Mavoko, or any other place without changing the Constitution. Thank you, Chair. Is that simple?
I propose a question, which is that clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Kanini Kega. There seems to be no interest. Honorable Oche?
Chair, thank you so much. And the chair of this committee is my friend. I wanted to just convince him that, you know, the kind of institution you're establishing, and you've said it's a very technical institution you're establishing, and most of the time it's going to be used not just by Kenyans, but by everywhere across the world. Yeah. And if you look at all the laws we've made in this parliament, most of the time, we've indicated specifically the headquarters of the institution they've established. The Speaker, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, if you go to South Africa today, you would know that you'll get this service in Pretoria. If you went to Ghana, you would know that once I land in Accra, I will get this particular institution. So what is difficult in just indicating specifically and say, Madam Chair, that we know that this is not just an institution that's going to be used by Kenyans, but by all over by the rest of the world, that we know that it's going to be in Nairobi. The flexibility you're talking about here, Madam Chair, may not be what we need. We may need, in this case, certainty over flexibility, Madam Chair. And I wish to appeal to the Honorable Chair of this committee to drop this amendment so that we have certainty about the place where this will be situated.
Honorable, is it Lichimo?
Chair, the amendment does not leave any uncertainty, because if you can look at the amendment, it also shows that the place has to be gazetted by the Cabinet Secretary. So it will be a definite place that will be gazetted. And it is also in the spirit of decentralization of services from Nairobi and decongesting the Nairobi, and accreditation service being a very unique service in Kenya, and probably the second in Africa. Then I believe an ideal place where accessibility and the kind of things that will be done is very, very important, as long as it is gazetted by the Cabinet Secretary. So it will be specific at every time that, and a person can be able to access those services depending on where the Cabinet Secretary has been able to gazette. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable members, Honorable Londo, you spoke to the first one. Okay. Honorable Mbui, I'll come to you. You know you are under this, you are barely visible. Honorable Londo, go ahead.
Chair, I want to convince my neighbor to accept our amendment as a committee, and the amendment as clearly informed by the nature and the spirit of the Constitution that indicates that services should be brought closer to the people as much as possible. while it's even contemplated that Parliament can sit elsewhere other than Nairobi, the view we have is that let us give that provision that any time should there be need to decongest Nairobi or even change the headquarters or the capital city of Nairobi, then we would not have to go into these extraneous disease complications to provide a different place. As my colleagues have said, the place where it's going to be headquartered is going to be gazetted. And the business sense indicates that once it's gazetted and built and commitments are made, it will be practically impossible to move it at the whims of any particular person. So I ask my colleague, my neighbor, to accept the amendment.
Honorable Asheli?
He has accepted.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to support the position of the Chair of the committee, because who actually requires this accreditation? Most of this is a kind of an elitist kind of service that we are going to provide through this organization. And therefore, Honorable Chair, I would really propose and support the position of the Chair that it is in Nairobi, because this is where most of the accreditation services is required. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The majority whip has his say. So, Honorable Mbui?
Thank you, Chair. Although I think the majority whip has lost it because he has actually gone against what he has supported. Chair, I want to say that really the idea of substituting the word Nairobi with an area designated or a place designated by the CS is in good spirit, because you see, even nations have moved their capitals, and if the capital changes, then it means that we'd have to come and sit here and again make a law or an amendment to the law. So I think it's good to say a place designated as opposed to giving the capital city and naming it. Thank you, Chair.
I'll go on to put the question. Honorable Nyamai, I thought you wanted to speak to it and then, or the chair is coercing you to speak to it.
No,
Go on,
Chair,
Honorable Nyamai.
he has not coerced me, but I'm just listening to the arguments that this is a service provider and that we should not over-legislate by putting it at the capital city. So I am supporting the chair and the position of the committee that the Cabinet Secretary should be able to gazette on where the headquarters should be. Thank you, Chair.
Fair enough. I go on to put the question, which is that Clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Kanini Kega. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And I put the final question, which is that Clause 5 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I propose a question that Clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Kanini Kega. Honorable Kanini?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting Clause 6 and also as per the order paper. It's quite lengthy. And the justification, Madam Chair, is to provide clarity of the functions set out in the bill and to provide an express requirement for assessment of conformity, assessment bodies, and mutual recognition of the competence of accredited bodies. It is also to provide a requirement for the service to establish, review, and maintain accreditation schemes for conformity, assessment bodies that are consistent with international practice, facilitate trade, and address identified needs of manufacturers, consumers, and regulators, among other entities. Further, Chair, to provide for the participation of the service in the formulation and monitoring of the relevant national, regional, and international guidelines, and provide standards applicable to the accreditation sector. Finally, to make provision for the service to undertake awareness, training, and advocacy programs on accreditation, including collecting, dissemination of information on accreditation, as well as related research and other services. The majority whip say that this is an elitist bill, which I don't agree with him. Is to me is a bit technical. And when we got this bill, we also did benchmarking. And the only area that we found in Africa that they have this kind of a bill is only South Africa. And we also had an opportunity to send a team to UK to do the benchmarking. So all these amendments, all these justifications that we have done is after doing due diligence and also making the study visit that we have done with our committee. I beg to move.
I go on to propose the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Kega. I go on to put the question, which is that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Kanini Kega. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I go on to put the final question, which is that clause 6 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
I propose the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. Honorable Kanini, you can take your amendments first, because we have your amendment and that of Honorable Washiali. And I think if yours goes through, then Honorable Washiali's flop. There is also Honorable Millis, yes. Honorable Kanini, you can go first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I beg to move that clause 7 of the bill be amended as per the order paper. And basically is the justification is to provide a criterion for the appointment of 5 members of the board, and they require the appointing authority to consider the recommendation of relevant professional bodies, gender, and regional balance. Madam Chair, I have also looked at the amendments proposed by my good colleagues here, and they are addressing more or less the same thing or the same issue. The only divergent area is that they are recommending even more people in the board, and also being more specific and I think in my case over legislating and specifically putting particular people in the board. Secondly, as per the muongozo that guides the various boards, we only have 9 positions in the board. And from our recommendation, you see that we will have a total of 9. But with the recommendation of my colleagues, there will be 10 board members. So I would beseech my colleagues, since the issues have been addressed, and we have said very, very clearly that the relevant professional bodies, gender, and also regional balance will be taken care of. I would beseech my colleagues to agree with the committee, because we have also done a lot of research on the same. We have consulted widely, and I would beseech them to support the committee's position. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable members, allow me to propose the question. I propose a question, which is that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Kanini Kega. Honorable Manzo.
Thank you, Chair. I want to support my chairman of the Committee of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Madam Chair, the main policy in the country is actually to reduce as many boards as possible. And also, the other policy of this country is, and that's why the Mongozo talks of 9, is to limit the number of people are going into civil service. So if you go outside the Mongoso, Madam Chair, then it becomes very complicated in terms of managing all the boards, which every other statute is proposing a board every day. And because now we have formed a new board and we want to align ourselves with the rest of the world, which is trading from South Africa to UK, it would be fair, Madam Chair, that we keep within the Mongoso, which is a presidential order and which is developed in conjunction with the regional countries, so that we can keep boards, at manageable limitation. I thank you, Madam Chair. I support.
Honorable Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, when I look at this accreditation, I'm seeing that there is a requirement in the first part, D1, for 2 persons with professional qualifications in the fields of science and technology, law, trade, business, or industry. And Madam Chair, I think it has, I've noticed in this house that there is an area that seems to be left out. That is the area of arts. Architects and people like actors and people like designers. Those are also people that have qualifications that can also be considered. So I want to propose in future we just be fair and not I know lawyers are constantly considered, but I think it's better to expand these so that we can pick from a bigger group. Because now it means that those people that I've talked about can never find their way into some of these organizations. Thank you, Chair.
Member for Luanda.
Chair, I support the position of the committee. Chair, we must remember that the body that we are here enacting into law is a body that will be basically a custodian of the standards keepers in this country. It is not a body that is going to itself carry out standardization. It is a body that will be the keeper of the standard keepers. So this is a superior body that we should not bring in all manner of people, but for purposes of policy only. So I think the committee has got it on point, and I support their position on this.
On this side, let's have Honorable Njomo.
Thank you, Chair. I rise to support the amendment as proposed by the Chair of the committee. And I do this, Madam Chair, noting that this body is being selected from a wide selection of our country. It is not targeting any particular area of professionalism or any geographical area. It is a well-represented area. And that is why, Madam Speaker, when we were discussing the shipping bill, the coast people felt like the shipping is just about coast people, while it is something benefiting or affecting every part of the country. And that is why I say, in this particular area, the board is well represented. The selection is from a wide geographical area and a wide selection of professionalism, and that is why I support it, Madam Chair.
I can see Honorable Millie and Honorable Washali wanting to speak. I don't know if you've been convinced to support the chair, but let me give Honorable Makali Mulu, and then we will hear the two of you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, even as I support this amendment, I want to make the following observations. The first one, Madam Chair, if you look at D1 and D2, and I wish the Chair could listen to me. If you look at D1 and D2, in terms of who is supposed to be in this body, under 1, you are saying professional qualification, you say science and technology, law, trade. Under 2, the same thing, professional qualifications in law and resources. I think, Madam Chair, I would really plead with the Chair to change one of those two so that you don't have law in both. Yes. And you allow other Kenyans to participate in this important board. The other observation, Madam Chair, is that the requirement is that you can have a minimum of 3 board members, a maximum of 9, and I've seen this kind of trend in this country where people always go for the highest. We need to bear in mind that these things are very expensive. I would wish we could just go for 3. These are boards for policy and strategic direction. They are not operational boards. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm tempted to hear what Honorable Millie and Honorable Washali have to say. Just a minute, Honorable
you.
Millie. Just a minute. Honorable Ochieng. And please, members, be brief.
Brief.
Don't debate.
The only reason I'm supporting this amendment, Madam Chair, is that there is a new inclusion, which I would want members to look at, even as we debate this. The new 1A, the new 61A. The fact that these are not going to be handpicked by the minister. These are going to be recruited competitively. And so, Madam Chair, I would also wish to propose that in future, the penchant in naming professions, the penchant in naming where people are going to come from, I think it's so outdated. Once we say you're going to use competitive process, allow the person who's going to do the interviews, determine who qualifies in this case based on who appears before them. Because we are recruiting competitively. And I'd also just request the Honorable Oshiali and the Honorable Millie that clause that allows this body to be recruited competitively then makes sense and allows you to take into account some of the sentiments I've seen in your amendment.
Your point is made. Honorable Oundo, briefly.
Chair, briefly, I just want to make two comments, and more relates to the so-called repetition in D1 and D2 about law. Basically, and I think my colleague, Honorable Mulela, has made it very clear, this body is a custodian of accreditation process and standards in this country. Naturally, you need somebody with legal background. We are saying, in the event we do not get somebody under category 1, then under category 2, we'll then get a lawyer so that we are able to cover that particular skill that is required to basically protect the interests of this particular country. And number 2, Madam Chair, the country has moved. The world has moved. The issue of being so restrictive in particular aspect is an outdated practice. Secondly, accreditation, I would rather call it a moving target. Issues to be accredited will be important today. Tomorrow will be a completely different issues. So if we tie ourselves to such a restrictive area, we'll get to a point that we are unable to move because we do not have some particular skills in the board. In any case, the actual process of accreditation will be conducted by the Accreditation Advisory Committee, which I have got option to co-opt members. So in the event an application has come and they do not have adequate skills in the board or the service, they would then be able to co-opt all these various professional bodies which Mr. Mheshimiwa Ashali and Milo Odhiambo purport to cure by the amendments. Thank you.
Honorable Ashali.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, let me start by saying that the process under committee of the whole House in amending this law, maybe we need to be relooked into so that all the proposals amending a particular clause are moved and then looked at the same time, because just by the aspect of the chair moving fast, many members are already committing themselves to support the chair, while they have not heard what the reasons why.
You might convince them otherwise.
We were moving. Yeah. Madam Chair, first of all, we had proposed that myself and Honorable Millie had proposed that we change the committee to 7. And the reasons why were because we needed to inject professionalism. Because, Chair, this is a very, very, very important body that we don't just need to get quacks sitting on this committee, Madam Chair. And I had proposed that in D4 we could amend.
Are you prosecuting your amendment now? Are you moving on to prosecute yours, Honorable Ashali?
Yeah,
because we are still on the chairs.
That is the unfairness I was talking about, Madam Chair.
But you know, if you're sure that yours is solid, then you might convince people otherwise.
Okay, Madam Chair.
So just hold your horses. Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, if you actually notice, my amendment was proposing the inclusion of a lawyer with the expertise in intellectual property law. What the chair of the committee is doing is in the 2 subsections is including law. And the reason why I was talking about intellectual property law is because this is a field where lawyers with expertise in intellectual property law would really be of use. If you see what the chair is doing, even though law is mentioned twice, it is actually weaker than my proposed amendment. And it is weaker in this sense that mine made it mandatory that there would be a lawyer, but his, there may or may not be a lawyer. So even where you actually say, where I don't know which member was complaining about law appearing twice. But if you actually read, Chair, if you actually read subsection D1, the proposed subsection D1, it says 2 persons with professional qualifications in the field of science and technology, law, trade, business, or industry. Meaning, Chair, that they can pick any of the 2 in those. So it could either be business or industry and not law. And then when you go to the second one, it's 2 persons, one with professional qualifications in finance and another person with professional qualification in law, or, and then immediately putting the word or immediately after law means it's not mandatory. So the likelihood is that you could actually miss the lawyers in either. So I would have actually urged the chair, if it were possible for him, to do that amendment, but it's not hard and fast for me, really. If it's included there, I am hoping that the people who will be making this appointment will have the wisdom to include a lawyer. And then, Chair, what I also love about the committee's proposal is that the inclusion of gender and regional balance. Nonetheless, I also support Honorable Washali, so I don't know how you'll marry that, but I am willing to drop mine, even though what is proposing is actually weaker than what I am, in terms of law. What is proposing is weaker, but I am willing to drop mine.
Honorable Chair, can you convince Honorable Millie to drop hers?
I have already, Chair, I thought I said
she's already convinced, and I also want to convince her even further. In fact, when we go to clause 8, because we also, the same idea was alive to us, and we say that we will also provide co-option of people with relevant knowledge and expertise. So it is also well covered in the next clause, which I don't also want to preempt. But
yes, Honorable Millie? Maybe you, Chair, you might be losing her further. When
Chair
you're
is
trying
actually
to
losing me with his comments. Because when you co-opt, if you actually see I'm doing a further amendment to drop the word co-option. Because co-option is bringing members other than by way provided in the law. Because if you are saying these guys are going to be brought in competitively or appointed, then you go and co-opt somebody. It means this person is not going through the process. But nonetheless, Chair, I am just hoping that the persons who will undertake this task will look at the legislative history and note and have the wisdom to know that it is important to have a lawyer with intellectual property mind.
Honorable Millie, I think even when I look at the chair's amendment, I don't see anything co-option. Maybe it was just a slip of the tongue for the chair. So I think we still have Millie on board, and Honorable Washali, do we finish with the chairs and then come back to you? Or you don't feel confident enough after the chairs is prosecuted?
No.
Honorable Washali?
Madam Chair, you know, as after looking at the proposals of the chair, they have put here people who have general backgrounds. And yet, as Honorable Millie was saying, I think this is a very, very important committee that we will need to inject professionalism. Just like Millie was insisting that we need to have a lawyer who is properly qualified, I was equally feeling that we need, and because I was going to add the registrar of the Kenya Medical Laboratories, Technicians and Technologies Board or a designated representative. And
out at the advisory level, which the board has powers to appoint. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Members, excuse me, I'll go on to put the question, which is that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Washiali. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The nays have it. Honorable Millie? Honorable Millie, you have further amendments. You dropped all of them?
No, Chair, I have to know which one. Thank you, Chair.
Deletion and substitution of words in subclause 3.
For 7.
Yes.
Chair, yes, I do have further amendments. Chair, I propose the amendment as per the order paper. And Chair, if you notice my, the purport of my, or import of my proposed amendment is that the bill as currently crafted provides that there shall be a chairperson that shall be appointed by the President on the recommendation by the Cabinet Secretary, but the Vice Chairperson shall be appointed at every meeting. Chair, I've never seen a place where the Vice Chair is appointed at every meeting. There's always a permanent Vice Chair that is appointed by that is usually elected by the members. So my proposed amendment is to give the members the opportunity to elect a Vice Chairperson who is then permanent, and then they can provide a procedure for removal. But really, Chair, you can't have a meeting where every meeting there's a new Vice Chairperson. It does not provide consistency and permanency. And then secondly, it only provides that they shall then elect at their first sitting, and also to ensure that we adopt a zebra approach where you have either man or woman vice chair or chair. Thank you, Chair. That's my proposed amendment.
So you've done the two of them?
Yes, Chair, I've done there are actually 2.
Yeah, 2.
Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question, which is that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Millie. Honorable Makali?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. I agree with Millie on the point of the issue of election of the Vice Chair. I think best practice is where you meet the first meeting, you elect a Vice Chair who remains either for the term of the board or part of the term of the board, but not in every meeting. So I think that really, I want to support that amendment, that the Vice Chair is elected either in the first meeting or second meeting, but for a specific time other than just being done every meeting. That would be tedious and not really a good practice. On the other issue of the gender, where if the chair is a man or female, I think that is also good, Madam Chairperson, that where the chairperson would either be a woman, then the man becomes a deputy chair. That is good for this country as we move forward. Thank you. I support.
Honorable Kanini?
Thank you, Chair. And it's a debate that we also had, but also we looked at Mwongozo, which of course gives the guidelines. And in Mwongozo, there are no vice chairs provided. And we were for the opinion that if you look at even most parastatus, you only have a chair which is an enumerated office, but there is no position of a vice chair. So we were going as per the Mwongozo guidelines. And I would respectively submit and beseech my good friend, Honorable Millie, to drop her amendment. We will, in the issue of gender, because I know she is very passionate about gender, I believe the team that will constitute this board definitely will take into consideration the issue of gender, so it will be taken care of.
Without inserting her amendment?
Yeah, without, it will be taken care of. It's something that we deliberated on.
Let's have Honorable Rachel Nyamai.
Honorable Speaker, before I listen to the Honorable Kanini Kega, I wanted to arise to support what the Honorable Mili Odhiambo had said. But when I look at this clause 7, Honorable Speaker, I realized that it was a mistake in the first place even to start prescribing how the Vice Chair will be identified. So for that matter, Honorable Speaker, I would like to support the Honorable Kanini Kega that we stick to the chair, because most of the boards that exist, really, there is no vice chair. And in the event that there is, the chair is not available, then they just choose any other member to chair the sitting.
Honorable Millie.
Chair, I just thought we needed clarity, because what is on the table is my proposed amendment, which is introducing a vice chair for consistency and coherence, and what obtains in the bill, which is electing a vice chair every sitting. Not what Honorable Rachel is saying, that it is left blank. There is no left blank. What the bill says, it is that it will be electing they will be getting a vice chair every time they meet.
Honorable Rachel, could you clarify?
Yeah, Chair, I just want not to be misunderstood. But what I'm saying is that any other board that exists has a chair. But now this bill went ahead to prescribe how, in the absence of the chair, that the members should go ahead and have another person to chair. So to me, what I'm saying is that I support the chair, that we just go up to the level of having a chairperson. But how the meeting is handled in the absence of the chair, then to be left blank. Because if we do that, we will be over-legislating and prescribing how the meetings will be held.
Let me give Honorable Serem. He hasn't spoken.
Thank you.
He's the Vice Chair of Trade.
Thank you, Chair. I want to support what the Chair has just said, and also disagree with Honorable Nyamai that if you are to delete the section that discusses about how to pick the Vice Chair, then she has to bring amendments on the same, which you don't have it as we talk at the moment. So that's a fact that unless she goes back, get amendments so that we can delete that section. So what she has in mind is now irrelevant. Chair, the picking of chairs in any parastatal in Kenya is actually a normal procedure. It's not something new that we are going to discuss on how to get them. We know how much we pay the chairs. We know how much we pay the board members. For this case, if in a nutshell, if you bring in a vice chair, you have to tell us how do we pay them, because there is a standard procedure in government on how to pay them, as described by the chair, that we are being guided by the Mongoso guideline. For this case, I am urging members we actually drop your amendment and agree with what we have from Millie.
Order, Honorable Millie.
At this, Millie has agreed with that. Let it fall.
Order, Honorable Serem. You can only speak for yourself.
She doesn't have to agree with me.
And I think you've made your point, so that we don't make it too lengthy. I want us to make I want you members to make a decision. Who are you informing? Who and who?
I'm informing Honorable Millie, and Honorable Sorema, and Honorable Rachel.
Okay, briefly,
No,
Honorable Cheng.
This is important because clause 3 talks about presiding. There's nobody talking about vice chair. It's about presiding. So we are not electing any vice chair in every meeting. We're only electing, choosing a presiding officer. That's what 3 says. Chairperson shall preside at every meeting, and in his absent or absent, the members shall appoint one from their number to preside. It's not about vice chairmanship. This is what I wanted to note. It's about presiding at a meeting where the chair is not there. It isn't about the vice chairmanship.
So members, I think we have enough info. Order, Honorable Millie. Who are you talking to? Order, order. Order, Honorable Millie. Honorable Rosa Buyu, and then we make a decision. We move on.
Thank you, Chair. I was actually going to support Honorable Millie in her amendment, but given the clarification that has just been given by Honorable David Ochieng, I think I stand by what David Ochieng says, and we don't need to amend because we are really not talking about a vice chairperson. Thank you.
Let's go on, and I will go on to put the question that Honorable Millie, what is it? I thought
Thank you, Vice Chair. Chair. Chair, I have 2 amendments. One, Honorable Ching is saying that we are talking about presiding, which in a sense is actually de facto Vice Chair. Because then, when you appoint, it means that every sitting where the chair is not there, you will appoint a new person. So in effect, it is de facto, not de jure, but de facto. That is one. But number 2, what I'm asking, in the event where that chair is not there,
you may want to, you want to also want Honorable Millie to demystify your legal terminologies for non-lawyers.
Yes, let me demystify. De facto basically means that in practice, that person will be acting as a vice chair because then you take over the position of chair in the absence of chair. De jure means that if we provided for law as a vice chair, then it would be by law. But de facto, even if you say presiding, it's de facto would be a vice chair. But nonetheless, Chair, my point of order, Chair, my point of order was, can we move them one by one? The one on the zebra and the one on, and I'm not dropping mine, even if I'm the only one, I'm not dropping.
I think, Honorable Millie, we can separate the 2 so that it's also clear for members that she has moved 2 amendments. Honorable Millie, I'm trying to help you, but you are acting rowdy. Honorable Omulele.
Madam Chair, with tremendous respect to my senior, the Honorable Millie, on the nomenclature that is used here of chair and vice chair, I think her take is wrong. Because when it is posited that this board, when it sits, it will appoint one of the members to act in the position of chair when the chair is not present, that person who is acting will be acting as chair. He will be acting chair, not vice chair. So there is...
Okay, honorable members, I think you've made your point.
Yes.
You've made your point. Let's put the question on this one, and I'm going to separate. Let us deal with the subclause 3. I put the question, which is that clause 7, subclause 3 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Millie. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. The next one The 3B.
And I put the question that clause 7.
And I think, Honorable Millie, you've prosecuted the two of them. And I go on to put the question, which is that clause 7, subclause 3B, be amended as proposed by the Honorable Millie. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. I go on to put the global question, which is that clause 7, as amended, be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
I propose a question, which is that clause 8 be part of the bill. And here we are again with Honorable Kanini Kega, the chair, Honorable Washali, and Honorable Millie. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Chair. And as I had earlier said, that the bill is really technical. And every other time we are getting new information, which is also good. And we really appreciate the contribution by the members. I move that clause 8 of the bill be amended. And I think, Madam Chair, in the areas that there are other amendments, I would rather take them through as opposed to when I say it's as per the order paper. Okay. As I start guided.
Honorable Chair, you come again?
I move that clause 8 of the bill be amended as per the order paper.
Yes,
and the justification, Madam Chair, is that this is to provide the board, this is to provide that the board may establish committees to deal with specific matters of the service and provide that the board may co-opt other persons whose knowledge and skills, very importantly, knowledge and skills are necessary for the performance of the functions of the service. Also to provide that persons co-opted by the board shall not have a right to vote at a meeting of the board. Madam Chair, this is to take into consideration that there are many expertise who might not be absorbed into the board, but we are giving them an opportunity that the board can...
Chair, just some clarification, Chair.
Yep.
You will notice that the Honorable Millie has an amendment that proposes to delete and substitution of subclause 2. So kindly deal with subclause 1, and then we'll give Honorable Millie. Because depending on how it goes, then yours will be affected. So start with the 1.
Thank you, Chair. I start guided.
Let's deal with 1 first.
Yeah, I start guided. That is, the board may from time to time establish such committees as it may consider appropriate for better carrying out of its functions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I propose a question, which is that clause 8, subclause 1, be amended as proposed by the chair. I'll go on to put the question, which is that clause 8, subclause 1, be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I propose that subclause 2 be deleted because what the bill is proposing is that the board may co-opt persons to any of the committees established by the board. Chair, the practice has been that you do not co-opt, but you hire consultants or experts. Because if you co-opt, you are actually bringing members through the back door. Unless, of course, this infamous Mwongozo has brought new standards, because now the Mwongozo looks like it is the Constitution of Kenya, but which, if it does, will also be improper, Chair. Because you cannot have board members that are brought in a very specific manner, and then you co-opt others through the back door. It doesn't matter even if they don't have voting rights, they will still be participating and influencing the board in those decisions. But when you want expertise, then you hire experts or consultants that will do independent technical work that they present and leave, but do not form part of debates in the board, even if they don't. So that's my proposed amendment, that we delete.
I go on to propose a question, which is that clause 8, subclause 2, be amended as proposed by the Honorable Millie. Honorable Gikaria.
Honorable Chair, on this one, I think I intend to agree with my dear sister. It is true. You know, this co-option thing, others are brought in through a process. Then co-option is just left to some people to make some decisions. I think what she's saying is right, that the best thing that we should do is hire a consultant who will give you an expert opinion that he will give it to the board for them to consider whether to consider it or not. Otherwise, if you bring this co-option thing, then it is like you're bringing people, even if, and I totally agree, even if whether that co-opted member does not vote, they might have some issues of trying to convince and, trying to influence the decision of the board. I totally agree with what the amendment brought by my sister, Honorable Millie.
Member for Luanda.
Chair, on this one, I'm on all fours with my sister, the Honorable Millie, because co-option. If you are going to co-opt these members, it means that they become members of that board at that instant. I think what is intended to be done here, the mischief that is intended to be cured here, was for this board to be able to receive advice from experts, which they can either use, accept, or reject. So this co-option will not do. I agree with her.
Vice Chair, Trade, Honorable Serem.
I want to disagree with Honorable Millie, because this one is not the board, it's the committee in the House. So that the members had raised earlier that the board that has been cassetted in an event that are cassetted, they might not meet all the requirements that you require, the expertise. You can co-opt in an event that you require an expert to assist the committee. This is a committee of the board. It's a committee of the board. It is not. You might not be a board member. You can be a committee of the board, a chair. So, in my view, Madam Chair, I disagree with Mr. Millie on this. I don't have to agree with you, Millie, or agree with you. I'm just expressing I'm just expressing my opinion, which is different with your opinion, Madam Millie.
Let's give Honorable Savula. I don't think he has spoken this afternoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I want to agree with my colleague, senior colleague Millie. All over the world, the practice is that the board makes policy. The management are the expertise. The experts are supposed to sit at the management level, generate an idea, take to the board for approval. You cannot bring experts at the board level. My idea is the issue of co-opting board members should not arise on anywhere. Co-option should be done, or it should be done at the management level, where expertise are required. Thank you, Chair.
And honorable members, we also need to be factual. We are talking about committee, not board members. And I think those are two different organs. Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair.
No, I'm just giving her time.
Yes,
to
Chair.
clarify her point as,
Yes,
as
Chair.
a mover.
Chair, actually, the point I want is that the committee to clarify. And I want to tell the committee, I sit in this, in the committee of the whole House, and maybe they don't come too frequently. There is no rule that the committee must disagree with any member who proposes amendments, because I think that's their mentality. If they notice, there are some I even agree with them and some I don't disagree. This thing is not personal property. So if I bring something that makes sense, support it. If I bring which don't make sense, don't support it. Ideally, what you should have done, if you are a good committee, you should have met me out, and we agree. That's
true.
actually how you move. But you don't come here and oppose it for the sake of opposing.
That's true,
But
Honorable
having
Millie.
said it here, and I want to tell them that if they don't know me, I will sit here and push my amendment one by one, whether they pass or fail, because I believe in them.
In other
but
words,
having said that, Chair, what I want the Chair to clarify for me, based on his own amendment. In his own amendment, Chair, it provides that the board may from time to time establish such committees as it may consider appropriate for the better carrying out of its functions. What I want is, if he means that these are committees which are not subcommittees of the board, because if what my amendment was based on this, which is talking of the committees of the board. If there are other committees which are not board, then can he bring a further amendment to clarify that they are not committees of the board? Because if they are not committees of the board, then I'm willing to drop my amendments. But if they are subcommittees of the board, only board members should sit in the committees of the subcommittees of the board.
Well
you can't
said.
have strangers sitting in the subcommittees of board.
Well said, Honorable Millie, and I think Honorable Millie has made a very, very important point. The fact that a member stands to bring an amendment to a section of a bill or whatever report, it doesn't mean that the member is fighting with the committee. It doesn't need to be adversarial. It's actually intended to enrich the report, the bill, or the committee position. So I think that's an important point for Honorable Millie, so that we don't seem like we are fighting over these amendments. And Honorable Chair, you are away from your seat, and Honorable Millie wants a clarification from you. You're consulting with your committee members. In the meantime, Honorable Ochieng.
I just wanted to note, Chair, that as the Chair clarifies.
And sorry, Honorable Ochieng, and I think it also really helps to have the kind of consultations that Honorable Millie is talking about.
Yes, very important.
So that we don't spend a lot of time on issues that can easily be agreed on between the committee and members.
Indeed, Chair, we are not here to oppose or support anything for that matter. We are here to enrich legislation. And so if anybody comes with a fixed mind, Chair, we miss. Just to add on what Honorable Miller said, in fact, if the committee is talked about here, not the committee of the board, then they're illegal from the word go. The board can never have any power to establish such committees as we've been talking about outside themselves. I just need to mention that to the Chair, that this board we're talking about is established as such within this law. This board can never have the capacity to establish other committees, other subcommittees or committees that do not belong to itself. No, they don't have that authority. And so that needs to be clarified so that we move forward on this.
Let's give the Chair. Or Honorable Oundo first.
I'm speaking on, the Chair has nominated me to...
He has delegated his powers.
Yes, to delegate, for this particular aspect. I have not... Chair, I think I need members to understand the envisaged structure of KENAS, so that as we debate, we have really nothing against Mheshimiwa Millie Odhiambo's proposed amendments, but let us first of all understand the envisaged structure of the service. The service consists of the board, and we were informed at the public participation level that ordinarily a committee or a board can establish such other committees as is necessary to undertake their function. And you are given, for example, you can have an audit committee, you can have a HR, human resource committee, in which, the board, in which event, for example, the human resource capital committee can actually incorporate as a member or as a technical person, the HR manager. The audit committee can actually incorporate whichever other finance manager. So that was the envisaged there. That's what is envisaged in this amendment. Then secondly, Madam Chair, we then have statutory or mandatory committees, as is an international practice all over the world. One is the Accreditation Advisory Committee and the tribunal. So here, we need to understand from that point of view, such that as much as we debate either carry or fail to carry amendments, we need to put that in mind, that really we are talking about subcommittees of the board, we are talking about statutory or mandatory committees that must be there. So in that event then, if we are talking about subcommittees, then purporting to hire experts, you are actually then infringing on the work of the Secretariat, you are infringing on the work of the mandatory committees. And that's why we said we are co-opting, so that if there is any point of clarification or any point of information, then the co-opted members can give their expertise knowledge. So usually it's just a matter of semantics, which this House, I beg, can really assist us refine if we find that there is a bit of misunderstanding or lack of clarity on this particular aspect.
Okay, Honorable Millie, are you clearer or confused? Is it clearer? Because they were clarifying something
yes,
for you.
Yes, Chair, he has clarified, and based on his clarification, I think my amendment stays. Because from his amendment, he is saying that this is actually committees of the board. And I want to tell Honorable Wundo that it is actually fortunate that many of us come here with international experience. I was a CEO of several organizations before I came here. So I also know the international standards he's talking about. And Chair, based on that international standard, on the international standards he's talking about, you create subcommittees. They are standing subcommittees, they are technical subcommittees that you will form of the board. They will be board members. And Chair, if you want to enrich, you do not co-opt, because when you co-opt, even if you look at other laws, we don't co-opt. If you co-opt, it means you are bringing other members through the back door. But what you do is you hire expertise, because expertise comes and goes. They do not encroach. They do their work from outside. And if you want to use the members who are in, you consult. That's the wording. You consult. And he's saying it's a matter of semantics. Law is about semantics. Yes. When you say consult, different meaning. When you say co-opt, different meaning. When you say higher expertise, different meaning. Semantics in law. So that's why I want to agree with him that based on what he said, I think my proposed amendment makes sense. Let us hire expertise.
Members, I think we can... let me have one from this side. Honorable Gikaria, you want to... You already spoke to it. Don't sneak back. You spoke to it already. Member for Gishugu. Let me have member for Gishugu.
Madam Chair, my understanding of this clause is that since the area of accreditation is very wide, the board can actually get other committees, especially advising on various aspects, which may not necessarily be adding another member to the board. And that is following the amendment that has already been done on clause 8 subclause 1, that the board can actually establish other or have into consideration. The board may from time to time establish such committees as it may consider appropriate for the better carrying of its function. And that is followed by the next amendment, whose knowledge and skills are necessary for the performance of the functions of the service. So this, in my construction, is a member to a committee that has already been established under subclause 1, but not a member to the board. And we've agreed that the area of accreditation is so wide that we may not be able to cover everyone in the board.
Finally, Honorable Ochieng.
No, we aim this to enrich this bill. And if you look at the byline of this bill you're dealing with, it says committees of the board. That's what it says there on the side. And so if that be the case, Chair, and based on what Honorable Millie and Honorable Zavula has said, I mean, this board has a very, if you look at clause 6 we just considered now, it has up to A, B, C, up to U, functions and roles that's going to be carrying out. What is difficult in agreeing with what Honorable Millie is proposing, Chair, if I may plead with the Chair, agree with it, adopt it, it works best so that the subcommittees can then be enriched by these hired consultants. It will be illegal. I mean, you've been appointed. You have no powers to appoint other members. You can't co-opt. Just accept, Chair, that you're going to allow this board to hire so that they can do their works well. I mean, it doesn't cost us anything.
The chair seems to have, by his body language, seems to have accepted. But let's hear the chair.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Our committee is magnanimous, and as we said, this is a bill that we are making from scratch, and we are open to any positive contribution, and we have absolutely no issue with that. And I think,
whom do you want to inform? Honorable Kanini, do you want to be informed by Honorable Omulele?
He is my good friend. I cannot decline his information.
Yes, Chair. If you are to look at the side note to that provision, that clause, under the proposed bill, you will see in there clearly written, committees of the board.
Yeah, that's what I've agreed.
Committees of the board. They are not committees of anything else. If it was committees of the management, that would be different. But these are committees of the board. And if you co-opt me here as a member of parliament, I will come here as an equal member. It is the same way we usually have nominated members of parliament. They come in and they enjoy the full rights of a member of parliament. So they become members of parliament. But if you want to seek advice, then you can seek advice, hire advice, you can take that advice or refuse it. So you cannot co-opt members. You will be expanding the board
of this thing. Well said, Honorable Mulele. And I think, Chair, you have accepted?
Yes, I'm in agreement.
Then let's move on.
Yeah.
Allow us to move on. I go on to put the question, which is that clause 8, subclause 2, be amended as proposed by the Honorable Millie Odhiambo. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Kanini, Chair. Insertion of new subclause 4, immediately after subclause 3. Did you drop?
Yeah, Honorable Udo. Madam Chair, I don't know how to proceed with the agreement that I have with Honorable Millie, the question of give and take and the handshake. And I drop the proposed amendment.
You're right, Honorable Chair. Actually, that particular amendment becomes redundant after Honorable Millie's subclause 2 carries the day. Yep. Honorable Washiali.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You have three of them.
Madam Chair, similarly.
1 and 2 are spent. That is, 1 and 2 are spent. Yeah. So you'll confine yourself to subclause 1A.
Yeah.
Yes?
Madam Chair, given the amendment of Honorable Millie, and given that we amended the earlier proposal where we were trying to inject professionalism in this committee, Madam Chair, that plus the other amendments that I have proposed, I wish to drop them.
Honorable Washali, you said you're dropping it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I realize because maybe if I just went back, Madam Chair, you realize that the reason why they were dropping my other amendment was because they will be able to appoint professionals. But now, Madam Chair, you realize that instead of appointing, they are co-opting. So it appears like this committee is allergic to professionalism, Madam Chair. And I think it is not...
Honorable Washali, you cannot take us back. You can't take us back, Honorable Washali.
Madam Chair, what I was trying to explain...
And if you're withdrawing...
If the position I was trying to introduce has not been co-opted, then there will be no point of me pursuing the other amendments.
Then just drop without conditions.
Yes, that's why I was dropping them, Madam Chair, but it is important also to tell the House why I'm dropping.
And once you drop, there is no room for provisos or any additions. So I think we can move on. I now put the global question on clause 8, which is that clause 8, as amended, be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I propose a question that clause 9 be part of the bill. Again, we have the Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
And Honorable Washiali.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 9 and substituting therefore with the following new clauses as per the order paper. And Madam Chair, the justification is to provide for establishment of accreditation advisory committee following the deletion of the provision establishing the accrediting committee, Madam Speaker. Madam Chair, thank you. Is that simple?
I propose a question, which is that clause 9 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I go on to put the question, which is that clause 9 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I go on to put the question, which is that clause 9, as amended, be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. Honorable Washali, you realize that your amendment is spent. It's dead. Let's move on.
Clause 10.
I propose a question, which is that clause 9 be part, I beg your pardon. I propose a question, which is that clause 10 be part of the bill. Honorable Chair, Kanini.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 10 and substituting therefore with the new clauses as clearly stipulated in the order paper. And the justification is simple, is to provide for the establishment of accreditation schemes consistent with the international practices as required under the international standards for the operation of accreditation bodies ISO/IEC 17011, edition 2017.
I have to propose a question, members. Are you done, Honorable Kanini? I will not allow an interjection until he completes.
And I'm not through. Edition 2017 under clause 4.6, and it addresses the needs of manufacturers, consumers, regulators, and other relevant entities. Thank you.
Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would wish to seek your guidance. I'm seeing the chair of the committee is proposing new clauses. And it's, if you look at the first paragraph of his proposal, it says that the bill be amended by inserting the following new clauses immediately after clause 10. So the clauses are coming after clause 10, meaning the existing clause 10 is not being touched. And the Chair, if that is the case, I just wanted to know procedurally whether you would deal with my amendment before then we go to the new clauses. Because I have a proposed amendment in the existing clause 10. Chair, I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. Because the Chair is proposing new clauses.
Is deleting?
The Chair is proposing deletion.
Chair,
and substitution.
Maybe my version is wrong, but it says that the bill be amended.
No. Are you reading the order paper, or what are you reading?
Yes, the e-order paper. It says that the bill be amended by inserting the following new clauses immediately after clause 10.
No, that's not it's deleting.
Before this one?
Honorable Millie, I think you are in 10A.
Okay, sorry.
And you are in clause 10.
Sorry, Chair.
So you're reading the wrong one.
Thank you, Chair. I stand by that.
I go on to propose the question, which is that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Honorable Kimunya.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Perhaps I may not have gotten what exactly the Chair said, but if I look at my bill, the existing clause 10 is about the functions of the accreditation committee. It's not about the schemes. We just created the accreditation advisory committee, which requires its functions to be defined. And I actually expected the Chair to be now amending clause 10 to read the accreditation advisory committee's functions. But now, by deleting the functions of the committee and then bringing in a scheme, it means we have created an accreditation advisory committee, but have deleted its functions. So because they are in 10, the functions are in 10, right? Yeah, but we are deleting 10, which is the functions of the advisory committee. Yeah, that's what the bill, from the bill. I don't know, I want the Chair to clarify whether that is exactly the situation we are in. Because clause 9 establishes the advisory committee. Yeah? Now, clause 10 currently covers the functions of the committee formerly known as the accreditation committee. Now, by deleting that clause, it means we have a committee, but does not have its functions defined in law. Yeah? So if we are deleting that, then we are basically, creating a committee and not giving it functions in law, because we are deleting and now substituting by creating another body. So if that is the case, then perhaps we need to revisit this area. Chair, can you confirm?
I will give the Chair and members of the committee. Honorable Oudo.
Chair, probably just a matter of, again, clarification. The accreditatory advisory committee and its broad functions is basically set out in the amended clause 9. It clearly states the functions from A all the way to F. Now, when we come to clause 10, and if he has got a chance to look at the published bill, clause 10 had just provided functions or the process of accreditation committee, the advisory committee. I mean, actually, it was called accreditation committee, but here we changed to accreditation advisory committee. It literally listed the functions. But now, based on international practices, based on the benchmark visits we made, we were advised that the normal practice, we talk about an accreditation scheme that literally is a rundown of the entire process from the point you receive all the way to the point you process and conclude application for accreditation. So I want to ask Honorable Kimunya to look at it from that point of view so that we are trying literally to align this bill to international practices to avoid a situation where our legislation and the regulatory framework seems weak comparable to other jurisdictions so that our accreditation mark does not meet international practices. It was basically that. Probably even if there's any lacuna in terms of drafting and the rest, that can be dealt with. But here, basically, we are no longer talking about the functions. We are talking about the scheme to state clearly the process from the beginning to the end.
Honorable Chair, you want to add?
In our committee's recommendation, and I don't know why it is not there are recommendations on clause 9, which we have not touched. And I think there's the one that is addressing the issues that Honorable Kimunya has alluded to. And of course, it's draws so much on the Accreditation Advisory Committee, and it stipulates, as my colleague has clearly put it. And I think in our amendment, we had also proposed amendment to clause 9. It's actually deletion and substitution of clause 9 as per my order paper.
Is it 9 or 10, Honorable Chair?
I also have order clause number 9. Yeah, which we have not.
Honorable Chair, we are
of.
done with 10. We are done with 9. We are actually on 10.
Yeah, which actually is, I think my friend Honorable Kimunya came late, and he's actually taking us back.
Honorable Kimunya, are you, the Honorable Oundo has tried to explain. Honorable Kimunya?
Yes, Chair. I hear what the committee is saying. It's actually a classic case of poor drafting. We're mixing the establishment with the functions, right? There's a reason why the two are separated in law, right? Now, you combine them together, but in combining, we lost, for example, the subject matter in subclause 3, right? Where the accreditation committee may withdraw an accreditation. We have now lost it because it's not covered in the new 9, right? Right? Because, no, it's, I'm just looking through what is here, unless it's covered elsewhere. And if you are now then legislating and then pushing something to legislation, right? You end up with a situation where on some of these very critical things, like accreditation, we end up with a legislation that may be declared null and void, and you cannot do anything on accreditation forever. So let's be very clear at this point in what can be tied up in the law, right? Now, if you can tell us where clause 10.3 is now covered within the 9 or within a subsequent, then I'll be okay.
Honorable Ochieng?
9 to 10, but as I get it, and probably Chair will clarify this, the amendments, the subtotal effect is that the current 10 has been done away with totally. It is not there, it is non-existent anymore, and therefore, reference to it doesn't help the
That's
House.
what the Chair is proposing.
Yeah, but that's the point. No, we haven't passed it already. We've already agreed on number 9, and number 9 clearly now indicates that the body is established and the functions are therein delineated. Then now, with the new amendment we are discussing now, we are doing away with this number 10 totally. It's going to be non-existent from the time we pass 10. That's how I get this.
Let's give Honorable Millie so that the committee doesn't dominate.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, what Honorable Kimunya is saying is actually true. The only challenge is, I don't know how we'll be able to cure it now, unless we'll be able to cure it through a recommittal or further amendments in future, because I think it will be a bit of a challenge, because we actually mixed the concept of the constitution of the committees and its functions, and thereby we lost some of the critical functions. If you actually look at my proposed amendments in 10, which we are now proposing to delete, it was actually to refine those functions, which we have actually now in the amendments we are passed in 9 are fairly very general. But having said that, Chair, because we've already passed, if you had seen that before, we would have actually asked the chair to do further amendments in 9, but because it's passed, maybe the only opportunity we have is either a recommittal or to wait for 6 months and bring further amendments. But Chair, I just wanted to say, because it's going to affect, if this one passes, it's going to affect my proposed amendments that I do support. And in supporting, I know that my amendments in 10 will collapse. And they actually already collapsed in 9. Chair, because I did actually realize, because of even the way the margin note is worded, that it was actually about functions. So maybe that is something that the chair really need to look at for legislative coherence and elegance. Thank you.
Honorable Oundo.
Probably, Chair, fine, I wouldn't want us to go back to number 9, but just to mention, probably the marginal note could have an error, which can be cured probably at an appropriate time. But I want to mention that clause 10 and the new clause 10, and I want to beg my colleagues, I want to plead with my colleagues, is a fairly elaborate provision relating to accreditation process and service scheme. It will be practically impossible, or find still possible, but it will be a bit untidy for us again to start introducing amendments upon amendments. Yet what we have provided here has literally been covered to provide literally the entire accreditation scheme as practiced in other comparative jurisdictions. So I want to request specifically Honorable Millie Odhiambo that as far as clause 10 is concerned, we plead with her to have. Thank you.
Honorable Oundo, I think you and the chair are taking notes of the issues raised by Honorable Kimunya, Honorable Millie, and other members. And essentially, Honorable Millie has agreed with the chair, and her amendment stands dropped. So we can go on to conclude by putting the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. I put the global question, which is that clause 10 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I propose the question that clause 11 be part of the bill. Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and we really appreciate the contribution of the members, as I continuously say that this bill is a bit technical, is a new one, and we are open to all positive contributions. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 11 and substituting therefore with the following new clauses as per the order paper. Madam Chair, the justification is to make or to provide for the establishment of accreditation appeals tribunal, which shall be appointed by the Cabinet Secretary in consultation with the Judiciary or the Judicial Service Commission. This will ensure impartiality of decision and independence of the service. To further provide also for the conduct of business and affairs of accreditation appeals tribunal are set out in the third schedule. Thank you. I submit. Yes, we are removing committee and replacing with appeals tribunal. Thank you, Honorable Kemunya. You are now on board.
Order, Chair. You're supposed to address the chair, not Honorable Kimunya. I propose a question, which is that clause 11 be amended as proposed by the chair. Order, Honorable Ochieng. You don't just shout at the chair. I don't seem to see any interests in contributing. Honorable Omulele.
Chair, this is a good amendment. I think the practice now is to have tribunals, and I've seen the proposed membership is on point. That the person who's going to sit in this tribunal as chair will have the qualifications of a high court judge, and these tribunals are analogous and properly equal to high courts, and this is a good one. I support.
I go on to put the question that clause 11 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. I go on to put the question, which is that clause 11 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. And Honorable Washali's proposed amendment therefore dies.
Clause 12.
I propose a question that clause 12 be part of the bill. Honorable Kanini.
Thank you, Chair. I move that clause 12 of the bill be amended. 1, in clause 1, by deleting the word appeals committee and substituting therefore with the word appeals, accreditation appeals tribunal, and B, in clause 2, by deleting the words an appeals committee and substituting therefore with the accreditation appeals tribunal. And the justification, of course, is simple, is to delete reference to accreditation committee and make provision for reference to the accreditation appeals tribunal. Thank you, Chair.
I propose a question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the chair. I'll go on to put the question, which is that clause 12. Honorable Kimunya, you seem to be agreeing with the chair. So,
Chair, in clause 11, which you just passed, under 4, except as provided in that schedule, the accreditation appeals tribunal shall regulate its own business procedure. We then come in to create a similar thing in clause 12, right? Because in clause 12, all we are doing is we are changing the name from appeals committee to appeals tribunal. But clause 12.2, right? After we change that, we'll now read, will be a replica of what we've already provided in 11. Would the chair consider dropping the amendment to 12.2? Because it's already covered in 11. In the 11, yeah? It's already covered in 11. In 11.4, right? We've already provided for the provision of how they regulate their own procedure. So we are then putting again in 12 the similar clause, right? If the chair, for purposes of neatness in this drafting, if you could drop your amendment to 12.2, right? Then we will avoid the duplication.
Chair? Chair, do you want to, or members of your committee?
Yeah.
Honorable Oundo, I think this is a collective responsibility of the whole committee.
Yes. And many of us have been involved in this thing for almost 6 months. It's now part and parcel of our blood system. I think I want to agree with Honorable Kimunya's comments because this is now just a duplication, a repetition of what has already been already legislated. So you need to guide us on what process that we can drop the amendments in clause 12B. So probably we propose to drop the amendments in clause. On behalf of the committee, we propose to drop the amendments in clause 12B. Just retain 12A, but to drop 12B because it's already covered, it's just a duplication.
So, honorable members, I think subclause B of clause 12 stands dropped by the committee. Clause 12, subclause 2. The chair, the chair.
For the comfort of my good friend Millie, as a chair.
No, and for the record of the House,
and for the record
let's
of the
have
House,
it clearly.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, then we drop clause 12, B2. Yeah, 12B.
Clause 12?
The entire, yes, the entire clause 12B.
Clause 12B is what you're dropping, Honorable Chair?
Yes,
Chair. Is that okay?
That's true.
So we'll
and
go on
we appreciate
to put the question on clause 12A. Honorable members, I'll therefore go on to put the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. I go on to put the global question, which is that clause 12 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I propose the question that clause 13 be part of the bill. Honorable Washiali and Honorable Millie. Let's start with Honorable Washiali. Clause 13.
Yes, Madam Chair, in 13A, I had earlier dropped because it was in conflict with the Constitution. And in 13B, Madam Chair, just like I had mentioned earlier, that this was meant to be relevant only if the earlier amendment of inclusion of professionalism would have been accepted. But now that we did not consider that amendment, there would be no point of us having referring to this to the registered relevant regulatory bodies. Madam Chair, I wish to also drop. I've dropped.
It stands, it's therefore stands dropped. Let's have Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I have a few proposed amendments to 13. One, at 13.2.
There are 3, Honorable Millie, not 2.
Oh, thank you. Chair, at 13 subclause 2, I propose that we add the word law so that the chief executive could be either, could be a person that is either qualified in science, information technology, business administration, or law. Chair, I don't know if I take all of them at once or I go one by one because they are very different.
Yes, please go on and deal with all of them.
I go to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Then, Chair, for subclause 13.5, again, I'm proposing that we delete the words that the Cabinet Secretary on the written recommendation of the board and for reasonable cause. So I'm proposing that we remove the word reasonable cause and put, and on any of the grounds stipulated under clause 13.5J. And Chair, I am proposing a 13.5J that proposes the grounds under which a person can be removed, because most laws provide grounds under which a person can be removed, because if you leave the word reasonable grounds, it is subject to, often very subject to abuse, because if I don't like you, I can just decide there are reasonable grounds. What are those reasonable grounds? So my proposal then, after that, would be that we have a new clause 13.5J that provides the grounds under which the appointment of a chief executive officer may be revoked, and that is on gross misconduct, insubordination, violation on any of the terms of a contract of employment, breach of Chapter 6 of the Constitution, failure to comply with the provisions of this Act, and conviction of an offense under any of the laws of Kenya, instead of leaving it as reasonable, because reasonable is very subjective. What is reasonable to you is not necessarily reasonable to me. But when you provide it in law, then you are forced to use the standard as stipulated by the law. So those are my proposed 3 amendments, Chair.
I go on to propose a question, which is that clause 13 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Millie Odhiambo. Honorable Oundo.
Chair, and this I speak not necessarily as a committee, but probably just to give some background information on why we have no problem with all the amendments under B and C. But I have a problem with amendment in A. Clause 13A, where you are saying we add for law. Where the honorable member is saying we add for law. I'm not an expert in legal drafting, but I've got this view that the implication, unless the implication is the appointing authority could as well appoint an advocate or a lawyer to head the accreditation committee. To head KENAS as a chief executive officer. Truly speaking, Madam Chair, and I want to ask my honorable member to consider that the bulk of the work that is going to be done by KENAS is going to be technical of nature, scientific, business processes, and the rest. And if by any chance the appointing authority exceeds or does not see that point of view and appoints an advocate, I'm not in any way meaning that they have no capacity to understand science and the rest of the issues. We could have a body that's generally incapacitated in terms of decision making and undertaking their functions. That is my view. That yes, it is okay, but that's the reality, the implication, unless the amendment can come with a rider that that person must have some technical knowledge in science and business processes. Thank you.
Is it a point of order or you want to contribute? Then you just be forthright. Yes, Honorable.
Honorable Chair, I've just been following and I'm there, and partly that's why I went to speak to Honorable Undo, because I think there will be no need really to bring there a lawyer. Now that she's convinced, let me just conclude by saying,
yes,
they can always hire a lawyer if need be, and then use that particular expertise when it is required. Thank you.
Honorable Millie? Millie, maybe, Honorable Millie, you can clean up your amendment for us to know where we are. To drop what you're dropping, and we know what you are
Chair,
holding on
I've
to.
actually said that when I am when I am convinced, I don't insist. And what Honorable Undo is saying actually makes sense. And also because they have also now established the tribunal, which also has a judge of the High Court of Kenya, Chair, it's okay. So I really don't insist on the part A. But the other parts, Chair, really do make sense. So if I would urge the members to support the other so that we don't have arbitrary measures to dismiss the CEO. So I am willing to drop the first part.
So you're dropping clause 13, subclause A
Yes, Chair.
of your amendment.
Yes, the one that has to do with the adding a lawyer.
Honorable Kimunya, do you still want to speak to it?
Chair, procedurally, and I think Honorable Millie raised this herself. What this clause is doing is that you're introducing new clauses that have not been subjected to second reading. They are coming in as new subclauses, right? They could well have been introduced as new clauses. So we need to figure out exactly that we are not legislating outside the established framework where we are now introducing, because you'll see by deleting some words and then introducing a new subclause, right? And I think we need to look at that. If it's okay, fine, but we be aware that there's a clause that's been added, which is substantial, but has not been subjected to second reading. Yeah.
Honorable Millie?
Chair, I actually agree with Honorable Kimunya, except that I thought we had changed because we've been going without subjecting all the new clauses to second reading. There are new clauses we passed, actually, even in, which were the others? The one that we've just done.
We don't have any new clauses.
Not on this one.
I don't think we have any new clauses, new subclauses.
Chair, if you actually look at, I'm not talking of 13, I'm talking of the ones before. That in even 11, we had new clauses which we didn't read a second time. But I am okay because I know procedurally when you have a new clause, they should be read a second time. Yeah. So I really don't mind. I can move and actually ordinarily what would happen is that all the new clauses are read at the end. But because we've been going this way, sometimes, procedures change. That's why I was not insisting. So I stand guided by you how you would want us to go, but I am ready to have my second part read a second time. Because the first one is an amendment, it's not a new clause.
Honorable Millie, we'll get to that later. You already dropped the A, and you prosecuted B and C.
Just explain. Chair, I dropped 13A, where I was proposing the inclusion of law. Then I was proposing an amendment to clause 13, which is this one. Clause 13.5.1 and proposing a new clause 13.5.1J. So, Chair, what I am requesting is subject on your direction. Sorry, Chair.
Do you need the help of Honorable Kimunya? But Honorable Kimunya, you wouldn't know what she wants to say.
No, Honorable Kimunya is very okay. He's very good at this process, so he can help.
So do we give him to preempt your thoughts?
Chair, actually, what the proposed amendment I'm talking about, the first one, which I dropped, was 13A, yeah? Then which 13.2 actually. 13.2, because I was proposing addition 13.2a. So I dropped my proposed amendment to 13.2a. Then I have a proposed amendment to 13.5. And 13.5 is the Cabinet Secretary on the written recommendation of the board and for reasonable cause. So I'm proposing that we delete reasonable cause and replace with the word "and on any of the grounds stipulated under clause 13.5J, which I'm proposing as a new clause. Chair, I can see the chair has also changed.
The Honorable Millie proceed. It is well.
Okay, so Chair, just to let you catch up, yes. My proposed amendment to 13.2a, I have dropped.
Very well.
I have dropped 13.2a.
Very well. Proceed.
Now, I therefore move an amendment to 13.5, that the words reasonable cause be deleted and replaced with clause 13.5J. But Chair, the challenge with that is because I am seeking to include a new subclause. So, yes, before time. Because if that subclause passes, it would only make sense if that subclause passes for me to move this amendment. So you will advise, Chair, on how we can go about it. Because I will be proposing a new subclause 13.5J that gives the grounds for dismissal of a CEO. And if that passes, then we need an amendment to 13.5.
Well, the Honorable Millie, what I can advise is that we treat this as a new clause. And then when we get to the time for moving new clauses, you can have an opportunity to have a go at it.
So I'll do both of them?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Very well. So, honorable members, that means clause 13 has no amendments. I therefore propose the question that clause 13 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 13 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I propose the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. Chair, you have an amendment to this?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I beg to move that clause 14 of the bill be amended by inserting the following new subclause immediately after subclause 2.3, that is, the service shall ensure that the appointment of its staff reflect the ethnic, gender, and regional diversity of the people of Kenya. And the justification, Chair, is simple, is to provide that the service shall consider the ethnic, gender, and regional diversity of the people of Kenya in appointment of the service. I beg to move. Thank you.
The honorable members, I propose the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the chair. The Honorable Kimunya?
I think Mr. Chair, the issue is a procedural issue. If it's being introduced as a new subclause, should it not be coming when we now deal with new clauses and subclauses, right? Procedurally, so that we are not legislating outside the framework that we have created for ourselves. We are not deleting and replacing. We are actually introducing something new to the bill that has not been discussed here before.
Honorable Kimunya, you're on point. I will therefore direct that the Honorable Chair, you will move your proposals under this new clause when we are moving new clauses. That therefore means that clause 14 has no amendment. I will therefore propose the question as if there are no amendments to clause 14. Are we together on this? I propose the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 15 and 16.
I propose the question that clauses 15 and 16 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 15 and 16 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
I propose the question that clause 17 be part of the bill. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. I move that clause 17 of the bill be amended by A in subclause 1 by deleting the word Chief Executive Officer and substituting therefore with the words Corporation Secretary, and B in the subclause 2 by inserting the words or any other person authorized on behalf by a resolution of the board. And the justification, Chair, is to provide that the common seal of the service shall be kept in the custody of the Corporation Secretary. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that clause 17 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I now put the question that clause 17 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 17 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I propose the question that clause 18 be part of the bill. Chair, you have an amendment to this.
Yes, Chair. Thank you. That I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 18. And the justification, Chair, is to expurge reference to the accreditation committee, which was deleted by the committee. Thank you.
Now, honorable members, before I propose a question to this, I just wish to direct that the Honorable Millie, you have a proposed amendment to this, and the Honorable Washeli also have a proposed amendment to this. The chair is proposing to delete the entire clause. So if he carries the day, that means that you will have nothing to amend, and your proposed clauses will fall, by the way. So I will then we'll deal with the chairs, but just be warned that in the event that he succeeds, then you will have nothing to amend. I therefore now propose the question that clause 18 be amended as proposed by the chair. The Honorable Millie?
Thank you, Chair. I support the proposed amendment. Chair, if you actually look at my proposed amendment, even before they removed the committee, I think the way it was even crafted was very confusing. So I'm still okay, even if it's deleted. I'm happy with that.
Very well. Thank you, the Honorable Millie. The Honorable Shelley?
Chair, if you looked at the amendment I was proposing, they would have only been relevant if we would have carried the other proposal that I had made in clause 7. Right. Therefore, with that, even if you dropped it, I will not have any problem, Chair.
Very well. Honorable members, then allow me to put the question that clause 18 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 18 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
I propose the question that clause 19 be part of the bill. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 19. And the justification is that the provision of the accrediting certificates is provided for under Section 10C. So it's already covered under Section 10C.
Very well. Same situation applies to the previous one. The Honorable Millie, you have a proposed amendment. He's proposing to delete. If he succeeds, then you will have nothing to amend. I therefore propose the question. I'll give you an opportunity, the Honorable Millie. I propose the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed by the chair. The Honorable Millie now.
Thank you, Chair. If you actually see my proposed amendment to 19.3 was to do away with arbitrary powers, so a deletion is okay for me.
Well, honorable members, then I put the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 19 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I propose the question that clause 20 be part of the bill. Chair, you have a proposed amendment to this?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 20. And the justification is the provision on maintenance of accreditation amended and reintroduced as Section 10D. So it's also covered under Section 10D. Thank you. Which is a new clause.
I propose the question that clause 20 be deleted as proposed by the chair. And I'll put the question that clause 20 be deleted as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of that contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that clause 21 be part of the bill. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 21. And the justification is the provision on suspension or withdrawal of accreditation certificates amended and reintroduced as Section 10E, which is a new clause. Thank you.
I propose the question that clause 21 be deleted as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 21 be deleted as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The Honorable Millie, you had one, but I see you are at peace. Thank you. Very well, we make progress.
Clause 22.
I propose the question that clause 22 be part of the bill. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 22 and substituting therefore with the following new clauses as per the order paper. And of course, Honorable Kemunya will, it's actually for clarity. I know before Honorable Kemunya says that out of order, it's to provide the enumeration of members of board and committees and accreditation appeals tribunal. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that clause 22 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 22 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 22 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 23.
I propose the question that clause 23 be part of the bill. Chair?
I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 23 and to delete, that is to delete reference to appeals committee, which has been deleted by the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Very well, I propose the question that clause 23 be deleted as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 23 be deleted as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
I propose the question that clause 24 be part of the bill. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 24 and to delete reference to the appeals committee, which has been deleted by the committee earlier. Thank you.
I propose the question that clause 24 be deleted as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 24 be deleted as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of that contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
I propose the question that clause 25 be part of the bill. Chair?
I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 25. And the justification is to delete reference to appeals committee, which has also been deleted by the committee. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that clause 25 be deleted as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 25 be deleted as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 26, 27, and 28.
I propose the question that clauses 26, 27, and 28 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 26, 27, and 28 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 29.
I propose the question that clause 29 be part of the bill. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 29 and substituting therefore with the following new clauses as stipulated in the order paper. And the justification is to provide for proper bookkeeping and auditing of the services and correct a cross-referencing error. It's actually correcting and it's just for information because it's a new clause. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 29 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 30.
I propose the question that clause 30 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 30 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 31.
I propose the question that clause 31 be part of the bill. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting clause 31 and substituting therefore with the following new clauses. And it is basically rearranging, you know, it's not so much of a new clause, it's rearranging. And it's to make or provide for general offenses and penalties. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that clause 31 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 31 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as our current opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The Honorable Milemba Omboko, what is out of order?
Thank you, Chair. You know, precedence and record is good. And when Honorable Kimunya came in the House, he raised a question on the new amendments. And a procedure seemed to have been established.
Yes.
So I thought we should completely follow that so that in future we keep that. Just your guidance, please, Chair.
Yes, the Honorable Milemba Omboko, you're quite in order that we should follow procedure, but this is a substitution. This is a substitution, it's not a new clause. So the chair is in order. He could move it. Yes. Honorable members, let's make progress.
Clause 32.
I propose the question that clause 32 be part of the bill. Chair, you have an amendment to this? I therefore put the question that clause 32 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 33.
I propose the question that clause 33 be part of the bill. Chair, you have an amendment to this. Chair, the system seems to have got tired of you. Use the one in front of you. Yes. Try the other one in front of, yeah, that one.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that clause 33 of the bill be amended in subclause 1 by inserting the word who qualify under Act immediately after the expression former service, and B, deleting the word under this Act appearing immediately after the word members of the board. And the justification, Chair, is to provide for transition mechanism for the current members of the board. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that clause 33 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 33 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 33 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 34.
I propose the question that clause 34 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 34 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, we are now moving to new clauses. The Honorable Millie, you will take note that you have, we referred one of your clauses to this. Honorable Millie, we propose to start with yours. Yes, so let it be called out.
New clause 13, 5A.
I propose the question that new. Yes, Honorable Millie, you know the procedure here. You will have to move this to second reading.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I move that the new clause 13.5, is it I or J? 5A. Chair, my eyesight is failing me.
It's 13.5A.
No. Clause 13.5I be read a second time. And Chairs had indicated earlier what this...
The Honorable Millie, what I have on my order paper is 5A. 13.5A. I don't see a J there.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes.
There is a 5A and then there's a new one. So, yes. Chair, I propose that the new clause 13.5A...
5A be read a second time. That's what you want to say?
Chair, you may need to guide, because if we read 5A a second time, it means the 5 as is will remain. But what I was doing was to amend 13.5. But my amendment of 13.5 was dependent on the passage of a new clause 13.5J. Or 13.5I.
The Honorable
Okay,
Millie.
Chair, sorry, Chair.
Yes.
I'll move that the new 13.5 be read a second time.
Correct.
And Chair, what the amendment seeks to do is to provide for a reasonable, not a reasonable standard, but very clear standards for the removal of a CEO, so that the old provision of reasonable standards would go, and it's replaced by provision of the standards for removing of a CEO, which would be 13.5.1. That's actually what was confusing me. It's Roman 1, and which appointment of the chief executive may be revoked on the grounds of gross misconduct, insubordination, violation of the terms of the contract of employment, breach of Chapter 6 of the Constitution, failure to comply with the provision of this act, conviction of an offense under any of the laws of Kenya. I move.
You're very well within your rights, the
And
Honorable Millie.
ask Honorable Kimunya to... to second.
The Honorable Millie, I have to propose first.
Okay.
I therefore propose that new clause 5A, clause 13.5A, new clause 13.5A be now read a second time. The Honorable Kimunya. Just follow the light.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I beg to support the amendment by Honorable Midi. It brings some clarity in terms of how a person can be removed from office, and rather than leaving it in some sort of ambiguity. And now at least we have got it within the right sequence. Because once we have the 5A, then the amendment now in the subsequent that refers to the 5A, at least we have some place to hold on, to anchor on. So I support.
Very well. The Honorable Milemba.
Honorable Chair, I beg to support because, and I really thank Honorable Millie and the seconder, because this is very fair for any worker in this country, that a proper procedure be put in place, how they can be removed in office, other than using a global word, reasonable. Reasonable can depend on the person in office and at a particular time. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
The Honorable Undo. Just come to the front here, the Honorable Undo.
Chair, as I indicated much earlier, we as a committee totally agree with the amendments proposed by Honorable Millie Odhiambo to bring clarity and certainty so that no mischievous or somebody acting beyond their powers just wakes up and fires a CEO. Even though I'm told it could as well be included in the contract, but it's good to be included in the act. I support.
I now propose the question that new clause 13.5A be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New subclause 14.3.
The Honorable Kimunya, what is out of order? Use the one in front of you.
Chair, as you'll notice, there are new clauses in 10 and in 11 and in 13 by the chair before we move to 14. So perhaps we could exhaust 13 now that we've sorted Millie's in 13. Then the 13A by the chair. No, it's not been.
The Honorable Kimunya, I'm advised that those are sub-clauses. I think we will reach them.
No, there is a new clause, 13A. Yeah, it's an additional clause bringing in the issue of a corporation secretary. And then there's some new 10As, 10Bs, 10Cs, 11s, which have not been prosecuted. Yeah. No. Huh? Oh, we're doing subs first. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's make progress.
I'm okay.
Make progress. The mover on subclause 3, 11, 14.3. Chair, your new subclause 14.3. You now move to second reading.
Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that the clause 14, subsection 3, be now read a second time. The new clause. Thank you, Kimi. Yeah, it is straightforward that the service shall ensure that the appointment of its staff reflect the ethnic, gender, and regional diversity of the people of Kenya. It's well entrenched in the Constitution, but you also said it is important for clarity that it has to be taken into consideration, because you have seen other agencies whereby, though it is clearly stated in the Constitution that they should be, these factors should be considered, but in some institutions they have not been considered. So we say that it should be clearly stipulated. I beg to move.
I propose the question that new subclause 14.3 be now read a second time. And now put the question that new subclause 14.3 be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question that new subclause 14.3 be part of the bill. I now put the question that new subclause 14.3 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 10A.
The mover to move for second reading. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. And I seek for your guidance whether we have all of them at the same time. Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that clause 10 be read.
Let me just help you, Chair, so that we can all make progress together. I direct that you move up to new clause from 10A to 10D. All of those together.
To 10E, Chair.
10E.
New clause is 10A, B, C, D, and E.
Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that clause 10, new clause 10A, B, C, D, and E be read a second time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I propose a question that new clauses 10A, 10B, 10C, 10D, and 10E be now read a second time. I now put the question that new clauses 10A, 10B, 10C, 10D, and 10E be now read a second time? Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And now put the question that new clauses 10A, 10B, 10C, 10D, and 10E be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clauses 11A, 11B, and 11C.
Mover?
I beg to move that clauses 11A, 11B, 11C be read a second time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that new clauses 10, 11A, 11B, 11C be now read a second time. I now put the question that new clauses 11A, 11B, and 11C be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And now put the question that new clauses 11A, 11B, and 11C be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 13A.
Mover?
Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that clause 13A be read a second time. And for clarity is to provide for the appointment and functions of the Corporation Secretary.
I propose the question that new clause 13A be now read a second time. I now put the question that new clause 13A be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that new clause 13A be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
First schedule.
I propose the question that the first schedule be part of the bill. I now put the question that the first schedule be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Second schedule.
I propose the question that the second schedule be part of the bill. Chair, you have a proposed amendment to this.
Sorry? The schedule, you have it. Second.
Page 1058 of the order paper.
Thank you, Chair. You know, I've been displaced from my usual sitting position. I propose that the bill be amended by deleting the second schedule and substituting therefore with a new schedule as per the order paper. And the justification, Chair, is to expurge reference to accreditation committee, which was deleted by the committee.
I now propose the question that the second schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that the second schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that the second schedule as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Third schedule.
I propose the question that the third schedule be part of the bill. Chair, you have a proposed amendment to this?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the bill be amended by deleting the third schedule and substituting therefore with a new schedule as stipulated in the order paper. And the justification, Chair, is to delete the reference to accreditation committee.
I now propose the question that the third schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that the third schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? ayes have it. I now put the question that the third schedule as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Chair, you have an amendment.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Chair. I have an amendment that I move that the clause 2 of the bill be amended by the following, as clearly stipulated in the order paper. And the justification is to provide clarity of the terms used in the bill. The terms are unique to the accreditation sector and will ensure consistency with international best practices in the accreditation sector. Thank you, thank you, Chair.
Before I propose the question, I would like the Honorable Washiali to take note that he has a proposed amendment to this too. And in the event the one by the Honorable Chair is carried, then yours will stand dropped. Proven. I therefore propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the Chair. And I'll put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And I'll put the question that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. And now put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. And now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, thank you very much. We have completed this stage. I'll therefore give the mover an opportunity to now move for.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Kenya Accreditation Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 17 of 2018, and its approval thereof with amendments.
I put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Kenya Accreditation Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 17 of 2018, and its approval thereof with amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the committee of the
Chair.
whole House has considered the Kenya.
Chair, yeah, just a minute, Honorable Chair.
Sorry, Rowan. Sorry, Speaker.
Just give us a minute.
Honorable Chair, you can go on.
Well, thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Presidential Memorandum on the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments, Bill National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2019, and approved the same without amendments.
Honorable Mover, Majority Whip.
Thank
move
you.
agreement with the report.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House.
Honorable Chair, you move agreement with the report.
Third line. Okay. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request Honorable Kanini Keka to second the motion for agreement with the report of the committee of the whole House.
I second.
Honorable Kanini.
I second.
Other members, I propose a question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. And we are going to defer the putting of the question on this one until the next time when we have it in the order paper. Chair, may go on.
Thank
the
you,
next
Honorable
one.
Speaker. I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Kenya Accreditation Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 17 of 2018, and approved the same with amendments.
Mover. Honorable Kanini.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Honorable Speaker, it's 1 year since that bill was led here on the, for the first time, the first reading. And I would want, first of all, to thank the committee for the tremendous work that they did, including getting more information from other countries, going to for benchmarking to UK, because this is a very new area, and in Africa, it's only South Africa that has this kind of a bill. So the committee went out of its way, and I would want to clearly thank the members, and especially Honorable Undo and Honorable Gichimo, who were tasked by the committee to do the extra work. I also want to thank the members who contributed heavily on this, Honorable Mili, Honorable Washeri, and the rest of the members, Honorable Kimunya, for the tremendous input and very insightful input that they have given to us. And with that, I want to ask Honorable Oundo to second.
Honorable Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also take this opportunity to sincerely thank our committee, led by the Chair, Honorable Kanini Kega, and our Vice Chair, Honorable Colonel Serem. Also sincerely want to thank the Kenya National Accreditation Service, as is constituted now, for the invaluable information and additional data they provided to have enabled us to panel beat and come up with a legislation that truly reflects the current practices. Madam Speaker, I also want you to allow me to sincerely thank Honorable Omulele, who I consulted widely and seriously on this particular bill, and his input, even though might not have been official, but found its way somehow into this bill. I trust that at least we have gotten the country a bill that will allow us to be members of the international trade and allow us to have confidence and the final products that hit our markets, either be they medical, food, or whatever, so that we can be safe and play international league in the international market. Thank you, and I second the motion. I second.
Yes, you're seconding. And I go on to propose the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report, and once again, we shall defer the putting of the question until the next time it comes for business. And we can...
Point of order. Yes, a point of order.
Yes, Honorable Kimunya, I haven't put the question, so you can actually say something. I can give you 1 or 2 minutes. Honorable Kimunya.
Honorable Speaker, I want to put on record my appreciation for the work done by the committee and this House on this very important bill, coming at a time when the quality of goods and quality of what gets into this country has been in doubt. And now at least we can start some process on an international scale in terms of doing it. And the committee, you've done your job. But my disappointment, Madam Speaker, is that when we're discussing such a major issue, the House is empty. And people then go out there and complain that, about quality control and everything else. And on such a strong, such an issue, we're not here to actually follow it and go out there and tell the people. Because the next thing, we will be going agitating and saying people are being finished because their standards have been brought, a body has been brought, yet we are not here in this House to actually legislate and then help our people to conform with the new requirements. Madam Speaker, I also want to acknowledge our ever-watchful Honorable Millie Odhiambo. I think we've come a long way in terms of going through the nitty-gritty within the bills and continue. I would like to urge her to continue looking through these things because she really helps us in terms of getting to get things into shape. Madam Speaker, I beg to support.
Very well. I think just to agree with Honorable Kimunya, this is really where the tire meets the road in legislation. And I think your words are well taken. I will give a discretionary 2 minutes to Honorable Junet.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me a chance to contribute. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the committee, Madam Speaker, for the good work they have done. This is a very important bill, Madam Speaker, and it has come timely because this is a time when this country is seriously grappling with issues of standards, Madam Speaker. And I also want to thank you for putting a lot of time in terms of the chair of the committee of the whole House, Madam Speaker. And also thank Honorable Millie Odhiambo, Madam Speaker, who has represented us very well as the minority side in making sure that all aspects are looked at in this bill, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as you said, this is where the rubber meets the road. And the issue of legislation is the core important issue of this Parliament, Madam Speaker. But I want to thank all members who participated, Madam Speaker, in making sure that this bill goes through. And this is one of the bills that's going to make things better for this country, Madam Speaker. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support.
Order, members. Honorable members, the time being 7:01 p.m., this House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 3rd July 2019, at 9:30 a.m.